The captain pulled up the single chair in the cell and took a seat. Across from him, their guest lounged on his padded bunk. Although the bunk was designed to be uncomfortably small, it seemed almost luxurious for him. His strange garments were folded up behind him as a makeshift pillow, and a blanket covered him from the waist down. His chest and arms were exposed, showing off his impressive musculature. Less than a meter of space separated them in the padded cell. "Nice place you got here," the human said. "I stayed on a terrestrial ship once, and they've got nothing on you guys. Compared to our spacecraft, this ship is like a floating palace. How do you do it?" The captain hadn't expected praise for the accommodations, but considering the human's small stature and the confines of the craft they found him in, he shouldn't have been surprised. "Well, we value our guests and strive to provide the best we can offer," he replied, doing his best to sound sincere. "Gods and lords," this creature was clueless, "but the bunks for our crew are standard for military or patrol spacecraft." A complete lie. He had no idea what a military or patrol craft looked like inside, and his quarters were 2 stories and about 100 square meters. "Wow, thanks for the guest treatment then," the human said, "and I want to thank you for rescuing me out there. I thought that module would be my tomb, buried alive in space." The captain could empathize. It was every spacer's worst nightmare. He suppressed a shudder. Really, selling this man into a life of servitude was doing him a favor. His potential buyer likely wouldn't put such a novelty to hard labor, when he could be a conversation piece. He'd probably spend his days entertaining and doing parlor tricks as a house slave. Not a bad way to live, better than starving in a metal pot. "Well, it was the least we could do here on the Bright Hope," the captain said. The ship's real name was the Halcyon Harvester. "We were a few light years out, but when we picked up your warp field collapsing and saw you couldn't get it going again, we knew we had to help. You can actually detect the warp bubbles of other vessels real time from light years away?" the human asked, sitting up a bit straighter on his bunk. Had he been taller, he might have hit his head. The captain was caught off guard. He hadn't expected the human to care about something like that or even be capable of understanding it. "Well, yeah," Antiktun replied, rubbing his chin. "How do you do it?" the human asked, leaning forward with interest. "Does the warp field project itself ahead of the bubble? Or maybe the compressed space causes ripples, like a stone in water?" This creature was not stupid, not by a long shot. That sort of technology is classified," Captain Antiktun replied. Truthfully, he had no idea how they did it. That was a question for the guys who built the sensor suite. "Oh, right, like the Prime Directive," the